And next, we are going to be hearing from Beach Token, Mr. Rob Cobbold.
Right, Rob Cobbold.
All right, thank you so much for joining us, Rob, and go ahead and take it away with your presentation.
Fab. Well, thanks, guys. Thanks for sticking with us. In a way, it does make sense that we go last because I think we actually speak to and connect up a lot of all the stuff that people have been saying so far. I mean, in many ways, it's like the dirty word in conservation, which is money. Like, how do we get more of it to the stuff that needs it? And how do we kind of build the health of our oceans into everyday life and everyday economics and the choices that people make? And really, that's the question that we are here to answer. Beach Collective are here to answer. So the Beach Collective is a blue circular economy platform. It's powered by a currency, and the currency gives a percentage of every transaction to ocean conservation and climate action. So projects like Kathy Childs and the Island Offsets and the Mangroves, projects like Plastic Free Cayman, both of them we've spoken to. So, we really are trying to get to the core of the problem when it comes to climate and biodiversity loss, which is basically a misalignment of incentives. It is still possible, and we spoke about this earlier. Claire asked, why shouldn't picking up litter from the beach be a paid job? The answer is it should. Of course it should. Why should you be able to make money from producing plastic bottles and chopping down trees when if you want to pick them up or plant them, then you're expected to do it for free? And I think if the blockchain sort of revolution has told us anything, it's that money is not a law of nature that has been handed down to us by the gods that we just have to somehow accept. Money is something that humans have designed. And if it's not doing the job that it's supposed to do, then we should redesign it. That should be open for critical discussion. We have to take that into our own hands. We can't no longer just be slaves of a system which is badly designed. I can't really put it more simply than that. So that's what we've done. We've designed a currency which incentivizes the climate-friendly actions and behaviors that our national money is failing to do. And there's this lovely quote by Abraham Maslow. He says, the definition of a good society is one in which virtue pays, right? That's what it is. It's like money is something that we can design to create a landscape of incentives so that the behaviors we want to see can be rewarded, right? Because then you've solved the climate game right there. If there's a financial incentive to do the right thing by the planet and by the animals on it, then you solve the problem. Problem is that that's not what happens at the moment. So we need to realign incentives, and you can only do that by redesigning money. Otherwise, we're just chasing our tails all day long. So we've created a currency which internalizes the health of our planet and our oceans into every single transaction. We can use that same currency to incentivize climate action. Anybody anywhere in the world can earn Beach Token for an action that is good for the planet. And we also use social incentives as well, because as we all know, we're social animals. We care about our reputations. We care about what people think about us. And nothing has sort of changed human behavior so rapidly as social media, right? So let's use that same power, but for something good. Let's give people social status and influence, not for posting a sort of meme 1 minute video, but why not give it to them for looking after the planet, for how much impact they have. And we also want to give power back to individuals. Yes, governments need to do more. Yes, companies need to do more. But interesting on that, the list of that survey that was mentioned at the beginning of the event, the individual action was actually rated as the third most important thing. It's not that I think one is more important than the other. It's just that I think somehow the narrative disempowers individuals. It says we need to wait around for someone else who's more powerful than us to come along and fix it. And that's just simply not true. Governments care about votes. Businesses care about your consumer choices, and we always have that power. It doesn't mean that we have, that we can do it on our own, but it means that we should never don't denigrate our own power. We do have power, and we need to amplify that, and that's what we're trying to do here. So we've been funding projects all over the world: beach cleans, mangrove restoration, community gardening project in Lebanon, where they end up giving the vegetables to the local community. We built a shop out of recycled plastic in Kakuma refugee camp in Kenya. All of that good work, however, is funded by our transactions tax, which means if there are no transactions of the currency, we have no funding. It's quite simple as that. So the trick is to build a load of portals where people can earn and spend that currency so that they use it like a normal currency. You know, currently 2%, 2.5% of every single transaction worldwide pretty much is going to Visa or MasterCard. And what are they providing for that exactly? Instead of payment rails, you know, this is a house of cards that's waiting to be blown over. And if it's not someone like us, if it's not us, it's going to be someone like us. The emissions of a beach transaction are also 200 times less than a Visa transaction. Because we've managed to create a system where you can use it in our own internal ledger, i.e. off-chain, so no crypto transaction has to take place. And this is one of our kind of key pillars of what we're trying to do is you can use all these portals, you can earn beach and you can spend beach without even owning a crypto wallet. So it's totally compatible. All you need is an email sign up. And that's incredibly important. So I'm not going to talk about all these portals on the right. Some of them aren't even ready. I mean, there will be a freelancer portal. We're doing something with Kelp we've got in the pipeline, you name it. But I think of particular relevance to the Cayman Islands are 3 particular portals. One is Beach Action, which is a social platform that's live now. You can go on it right now, register an action. You've picked up a piece of litter. You know, Katie, your organization, you've restored some coral. You know, whatever it is, you've done some climate education. There's categories for all different types of action. You can register an action on the map with a pin, and you can earn beach token for your action. And that is not just a kind of financial credit, but it's also a social credit because there are leaderboards and impact boards, etc. It's also a way to raise money, and it's also a way to channel corporate CSR because just like kind of Google Maps for climate action, companies can use this as well. So it could be that Dart Enterprises wants to sponsor a particular beach. So they have their logo floating over the beach, and that is a bounty of beach token, which sits there until anybody comes along and cleans the beach and replenishes once a week, once a month, what have you. Or it could be that any action for the climate registered in the Cayman Islands between this date and this date, the rewards will be sponsored by Dart Enterprises, for example. And that token will land in your bag with a little logo impression of Dart Enterprises. So there's a million ways that this can work. This is about incentivizing small actions, but at scale, and rewarding the actions that we want to see more of. Like Claire says, you know, we don't think you should have to volunteer to pick up the beach. You should be rewarded, and not just financially, but socially as well, because you're doing something good for all of us. The second app is Beach Pay. So this is just a very straightforward app for sending and receiving beach. We imagine this being used particularly in geographical clusters. So we have a few places that we're looking to really achieve adoption at scale with real world bricks and mortar businesses. So we're talking about shops, bars, restaurants. The Cayman Islands is right at the top of that list. For so many reasons, you guys are absolutely perfect for this, apart from the fact you have some of the most amazing biodiversity anywhere in the Caribbean. You're also innovators, you're financial innovators. And you know, you can see the problem in front of you, right? No one has to come along and explain to you what climate change is because your beaches are disappearing. So we see you guys as a perfect candidate. We're so looking forward. We've already spoken to many of you here, including Kathy Childs from Island Offsets, including Claire from Plastic Free Cayman. We've had a conversation with Dart Enterprises, and we're looking forward to having more of those. Just got off the phone with Invest Cayman. So, you know, we're really trying to speak to absolutely everybody, from an individual who cares about their local beach being covered with sargassum, to businesses who we want to accept it, right the way through to government. So we're wide open. If this is something you want to help us to achieve, then please let us know. It's going to be, you know, all these NGOs on this call that are going to be the beneficiaries, because we will ring fence any transactions tax from the island, and we will give it straight to local environmental initiatives. So if you're a bar or a restaurant and your beach has got plastic on it or it's got sargassum, the one way that you can help is by accepting beach token as payment. Because any transactions we will use to fund your local beach cleans. And finally, Beach Shop is online commerce, ethical brands and products. We haven't opened that just yet, but we've already got 8 businesses onboarded, and we're onboarding them all the time. Just a little word about carbon as well. So particularly because of the mangroves and because of Kathy's amazing work already on the island, We're creating a tool. I mean, Kathy said so herself that the difficulty of being regulated and accredited as a carbon asset is incredibly difficult. The barriers to entry is so high, even in a country like Cayman Islands, where, you know, it's not a poor country by global standards. You have a massive amount of mangroves. The difficulties of getting those mangroves registered and regulated in order to issue carbon credits is so high, because you basically have to prove that they're going to be chopped down. And by the time you've managed to prove it, guess what? They've already been chopped down. So, and this is a problem we hear again and again and again. So we're creating a tool to basically democratize and decentralize the issuance of carbon credits worldwide, so we can put more value in the hands of the communities on the ground that are doing the work, and less money in the hands of the regulators and the middlemen and the bean counters, which basically suck up all of the value and end up being a barrier to entry and blocking action where it needs to happen. So that's, you know, kind of keeping a little bit of that under our hat about how we're doing that. But certainly, if you're interested, do reach out, and we'd love to speak about it. This is just for full transparency. It's probably more information than you need at this point, but these are the fees that we take. So Beach Pay, that payment app I talked about, this is essentially what you would use if you were going to a bar or a shop or a restaurant, doing a person-to-person transaction. 1.5% Beats, Visa or MasterCard, except we give it to the planet, not the bank. And there's always this 1-1 split between Clean Oceans, so that's Beach Cleans, projects like Plastic Free Cayman, and Blue Carbon, which is more projects like Kathy and Island Offsets, mangrove restoration, and potentially coral restoration could come in sort of one or either of those, to be honest. And then the third portion we take for ourselves, just to keep the lights on, and yeah, to keep things ticking over. You can, of course, sell beach for other currencies. It's a free floating currency. We don't want you to do that, because we want you to, it breaks the circular economy, and we want you to treat it like a currency, right? So you can do that, but we take a larger percentage if you do that. Currently, the buy tax is actually dropped to 10%. It will drop to 5 and 0. The sell tax again will drop to 10 and then 5. But there'll always be some friction on the sale, because we want to disincentivize that, right? We want you to keep it as a currency and use it like a currency. So the question is, if you're a business and you accept some beach token, what can you do with it? Well, one, you can take it into pounds or dollars, like I said. We'll take a larger fee, but that will drop. You can keep hold of it. We have a burn rate, which basically means that the currency is deflationary by nature. So in theory, it goes up in value over the long term as we create adoption. You can use it for CSR and marketing on beach action. Like I said, you could sponsor a local beach. You could target a particular user on the platform that you want to have a logo impression. You can promote your new product or campaign. You can spend it with other products in Beach Shop, or in the case of the Cayman Islands, if we onboard enough businesses, you know, the amount of businesses we're planning to onboard, you can pop down the road and buy a beer, or do your shopping, or buy an item of clothing. That's the end goal here. We want to have a fully circular economy, so anybody on the island can earn it for picking up litter and then spend it in a bar down the road. That's the plan. You can employ freelancers with it on Beach Nomad. That's not quite out yet, but that will be the case. You know, web designer, graphic designer. You can give it as a little bonus to employees, and eventually be able to exchange it for other tokens on our own internal swap as well. So yeah, I sort of, it's nice to kind of leave with this picture on the left here. This is our community partner in Kakuma refugee camp. It's 30 women who do a weekly cleanup. You know, these are the communities that are going to be on the front line of climate change. These are the communities that don't have the resources to mitigate it or move elsewhere or do anything about it. And, you know, too often, it's like the systems that we've designed just kind of seem to blindly ignore these the people that are going to suffer the worst of these effects. And you know, this is the year 2022. We design our own systems. We design our own societies. We need to take control of our destiny, of our species' future. We cannot just like watch and sit by as we basically fall off a cliff, you know, because that's what's happening. And the only way we can really tackle climate change systemically is by getting to the root of the problem, which is redesigning money. You know, there's basically a monopoly on the payment rails right now. You know, all of that money going to Visa and MasterCard, but for what? You know, why? We don't have to put up with that anymore. It's a monopoly which is waiting to be shattered. And if it's someone else, then that's great. Well, then we're more than happy. But we see the Cayman Islands as potentially, you know, people don't think sustainable. When people think of sustainable tourist destinations, they don't think of the Cayman Islands, right? That's not the first thing that jumps out at them. But this is an opportunity to put the Cayman Islands on the map for something highly innovative, for financial innovation, and for moving the dial on climate action in a meaningful way, to show the world what's possible when you take the matter of like monetary design into your own hands and you design it for the good of the planet and for the good of our species. And I'm incredibly excited to be working with you. And please do reach out if you're a business, if you work for the government, if you're an NGO. We're looking for any and all collaborators on the islands. And we're building networks as quickly as we can, and looking at a launch, like a hard launch, in sort of April 2023, in partnership, hopefully, with the Chamber of Commerce, where we're going to launch the currency at scale on the island with a massive beach clean, reward everyone in beach token, and then kick off with a big launch with lots of businesses and shops that will accept it. So do reach out if you can help, and thanks very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Rob. That was an awesome presentation. That is really, I mean, I have about 50 questions myself, but we're going to be in touch with you from Amplify Cayman, and I actually just sent your website to the Minister, Andre Ebanks, for who's a part of social development here, and this is an awesome opportunity. This is just absolutely fantastic, and something that needs to be done. I see what you're saying here by talking about empowering ourselves to have an economy that actually makes it rewarding to do the good things and more difficult to do the bad things. And I think that is that simple concept is something that it can really be a turning point for dealing with the climate emergency and strengthening our communities. I never researched it, but I actually came across the term beach token on a permaculture group that I'm on Facebook, and they were talking about the permaculture that's happening in Kakuma refugee camp, and I was just like, this is amazing. So I reached out to someone, was kind of chatting with him a little bit, and then and some of the things that he sent me, it talked about working with you guys, and I was just like, I never went into, oh, what is this all about? So it's really great to see you here now and just to hear about it. It's very exciting, and I can't wait for the launch. That is fantastic.
Thanks, Eden. Yeah, I look forward to connecting, and that's great to hear that word's been getting out there through ways that I don't know about. So
that's how it works. That's how it works. Fantastic. Once again, if there's any questions for Rob, you can check out beachtoken.io, and then you can also send questions to Cayman Connection, and we'll make sure that everyone who's on this chat is able to access any quests for information, quests for answers, and make sure that everyone gets informed as much as possible. And we are, and you can email Rita at caymanconnection.org.